Hey, Terry, do you have some more pens? Oh, we got, hey, ain't nothing wrong with the OGs, yeah. Go with the pencils.
Yeah, she got some back there.
We got some? Oh, cool. All right. Bet. What's going on? How you doing? So that's, and who else we got? Anybody else coming around the corner, bro?
Probably people just
Probably.
just late.
Just like straggling in? All right, cool. All right, well, yeah. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, for starters, welcome to the Innovators Circle. Shout out to y'all. Give a hand clap for yourselves for pulling up today. You feel me? Yup. That hand clap means two things. For one, y'all made it out. But two, y'all woke up this morning. You feel me? Y'all alive.
Yeah.
You know, y'all breathing. Y'all healthy. So that's a blessing in itself. You know. But yeah, so starting off with the itinerary, we're going to get going. We know that social status shuts down at, what time y'all shut down? Like 7:30 or something like that. So shout out to social status for, staying open a little bit longer to make this event happen, But first, starting with the networking, meeting and greet. Saw a lot of y'all, in here connecting with each other and stuff like that. Next, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name's Darren. That's Nate Robert Eze right there. His brother has a very interesting story, you feel me? But we're gonna save that. Next, we're gonna roll into the presentation of mainly the importance of entrepreneur accountability. Regardless if you're an entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, or maybe you're just crushing your career goals this year, we're gonna have a talk about that. Next, the best and worst decisions of 2022, not just for ourselves, but for everybody. You feel me? Now, if you ain't comfortable sharing, that's cool. We're not forcing nobody, but we do encourage conversation today, so that's very important to keep in mind. Next, what else we got? Yeah, so, and then we'll speak about the Innovators Circle, and then the closing remarks, feedback, how we can get better, what we did right, questions, et cetera, and then we're going to keep rolling with it. Cool. So, Nate, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so how y'all doing, first of all?
Good.
That's good. So, I'm Nate Robert Eze. I'm newer to Charlotte. Looks like Darren knows pretty much everybody in the room.
I know everybody.
And but no, I'm so excited to be here. It's been an amazing journey, doing business and doing stuff like this, events and things of that nature with Darren. So moved here about a year and a half ago. Started my company Render Vision about 2 years ago, and we do 3D renderings, animations, and VR walkthroughs for real estate developers all over the country. We work with a few developers in Canada and some others, around the world. And so we have a team all around the place. And yeah, here to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship and some of the challenges, the struggles, but also the rewards and, how amazing it is to have that freedom and have, the ability to kind of write the way your future goes, and tap into those things that come natural to you and that you love. And so, super excited to be here again. Thank y'all for being here, straight up.
For real. Yeah. So, Nate, definitely appreciate that. And then for myself, so what's going on, y'all? My name is Darren Anderson, born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. Native Charlotteans. Anybody? All right, so shout out to y'all. You feel me?
Only three.
Shout out to everybody else. Like, what cities we got in the building? What we got? Where we from?
Indiana.
Nobody else? I know we got. Hold on. Who from New York? Maryland. All right, down the street. Anywhere else? What we got? You said what? See, that's different. We don't run into too many people like that. So I'm glad you mentioned that. All right. Anywhere else? Virginia. Okay. What part? I'm gonna act like I know where it's at. Cool. But yeah, so shout out to everybody, Charlotte and beyond type deal. So my name is Darren Anderson, born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, mainly from South Charlotte. Went to school, South Charlotte, you feel me? And then I decided to go to college. But I think it's important for me to share that I decided that college was not the route for me, and it's very important that I speak on that, because I'm starting to lean into that part of my story, But yeah, so let me see. Went to college for a few years, decided this ain't for me, got out, went to work somewhere, I'm like, this ain't it, I don't want to work at some random job forever, you feel me? And then I started working at a small business. Anybody familiar with Family Matters? Familiar with that? Yeah, so started working there for a couple years, and then I'm like, okay, through that process, I really understood what it took to not only operate as an entrepreneur, but also work with a team and potentially be the team type thing, you know? So from there, made my exit, decided to start my own company, Skyhouse Media, where we specialize in video marketing for commercial and residential real estate clients. From there, you know, we just been growing, doing our thing. We made it through 2021, so I just made it through my first year of full-time entrepreneurship. So that's a blessing. Appreciate it. And we also have some of our team members in the building. Shout out to my guy Brad on the cam back here. You feel me? And we got one of the coldest shooters in the city. Shout out to Lily right here with the hoodie. Yeah. Hey, yeah, man. You know, it's just a blessing, and you know that's part of my story type thing. So it's very important that you know I share that missing piece of my journey type deal. So yeah, we're gonna keep rolling. All right, cool. So what we have here, slight exercise, the umbrella of accountability. I ain't gonna lie, my mama helped me with this one. So shout out to my mama. But yeah, so to get into it though, so accountability is one big word, right? But under that, we have all these other small words. So we can't just think of accountability as this one thing while dismissing all the other things that help make us accountable type deal. You feel me? So we have dedication, time management. I gotta work on that one. Focus, transparency, responsibility, motivation. What other words can we add to this? What y'all got? Discipline. All right, discipline.
Respect.
Consistency. All right, you said something? Oh, no. Consistency. All right, cool. Discipline, consistency. What else we got?
Respect.
Patience. Facts.
Patience. Big time.
What's that? Flexibility. All right, cool. So flexibility. One last one. What we got? Reliability and relationships. Cool. So that's good. So with those words, just keep in mind that these are all smaller words that will help us be accountable not only to ourselves but also to each other. And I encourage you guys to, you know, take notes as well. We have the notebooks provided. So just all those small words. If one word sticks out to you, definitely write that down. Like, oh man, I know for myself, like, we speaking about transparency, I gotta work on time management. You feel me? But I know that about myself, so I'm understanding that about myself. Nate, what's one of these words you feel like you gotta work on a little bit?
Man, I would say time management definitely for me too.
Facts.
Our time is so important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like, especially as an entrepreneur, we have to budget our time.
Bro.
Because
truth.
Because there's so many things, you know, so many opportunities that can come, so many, you know, things that can pull you to the side, even personal life stuff. And it's good to be able to manage your time correctly so you're being efficient and, you know, doing what you have to do.
Facts. Yeah, time management is definitely key for both of us. Is anybody else willing to share? Anybody? So I know time management. I know that's heavy for some of y'all. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? You saying y'all coming in. I ain't gonna call them y'all. But yeah. So transparency. You know, I know that's you. Transparency. All right, cool. Oh yeah, go ahead. Motivation. Hey, for real, yeah. Hey, yeah. Okay. For sure. Cool. And you mind sharing your name real quick?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
Shayla. All right, cool. And Shayla, what do you do?
I'm a
Photographer. All right, cool. So we can have a further discussion about that. We're gonna take it to the brother in the back. What's going on, bro?
What's good? My name is Michael.
Michael, okay.
I would say focus.
Focus, okay.
Yeah, because as for me, I work from home. So a lot of times, you know, your phone's in your hand, social media, family things, just little small things might pop up. So sometimes it's hard to focus. So I recognize that about myself as well. Of course, time management.
Facts, but you know it's like, nah, I really need to like dial in on my focus type deal.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. Dial in on motivation, focus. What we got?
I was going to say, I think one of the hardest things is like when you become an entrepreneur and you're working from home, it's hard to stay focused and stay on task.
Yeah.
And you can do 10 other things, go take a nap. I struggled with that at the beginning. I'm like, it was hard, but.
For sure. And what's your name?
Sydney.
Sydney? All right, for sure. And what we got?
I would say it wasn't on there, but I would say the belief.
Mm.
Like ties into like motivation.
Ooh.
I feel like it's easy to be like, I'm gonna drop to 150, go get an LLC, but just like that belief of like following through.
Yeah.
And then I think that's where like that umbrella allows like other words to come in and like, all right, I'm gonna believe that I can be consistent. I'm gonna believe I can be disciplined. Because it's easy to like go pay for something, but it's harder to like just follow up and really say like I'm meant to be doing that. So.
That's good.
Brad, bro, that's that right there. So what this brother just said, that's key. Belief. But before I share my experience with self-belief, anybody else? Travis, what we got?
You know, I work directly with, structure. I think when we think of all these
Okay.
words, I think that structure would go, like, be the umbrella of these words. Because without structure, what someone has taught me is that I can't really organize my day, that I need time management, I need a calendar, and then just like structure and operations. So, you know my story, you know who I work with, so I think more people need to bring structure into what they're doing so they can operate effectively.
And what's your name real quick, brother?
My name is Travis P. Jackson.
All right, cool. So we got Travis P. Jackson.
Jackson.
And brother with the camera, what's your name, man?
Bradford.
Bradford Brooks. All right, cool. So real quick, before we transition off of this, I'll be looking on time on this one. But yeah, so for that one, what you said is belief, self-belief. So I would say the first month that I jumped out and said, I'm gonna do this, I don't know how you feel. Bro, I would say the first year, bro, and still working on it to this day. Bro, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go back to work, bro. I'm about this, bro. This is whack, you know? But what just kept being pounded into my head, like from my mom and all that, bro, is like, man, y'all probably know how much to say, you feel me? It's like, you know, we walk by faith, not by sight. And that quote right there really sticks with me. I'm not gonna say stuck, it sticks with me to this day when I'm like, what's the next move? How do we get these numbers? How do we do this? How do we make this happen? How do we hire this person? All of that, you feel me? And it's like, bro, like, I'm putting too much focus on what I need to focus on instead of just stepping back and know that it's gonna happen regardless, you know? But that's one thing that we gotta know is that whatever we putting in line, whatever we planning for, you feel me? As long as our intentions are good, it's gonna happen regardless. So, you know, I ain't trying to be no motivational speaker, bro. I just wanna put that out there, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so anything else you want to touch on that?
Well, I was actually going to add one, respect.
Respect.
I feel
yeah.
like respect encompasses like a lot of these different things because, you know, I feel like there's internal accountability and then there's external accountability. So internal is like, you know, for yourself, like when you wake up in the morning, when you know, send out that email or having the initiative to do certain things, especially when it's you. You know what I'm saying? It's like nobody else is telling you to do it. And the external accountability is your responsibility to other people on your team, to your clients, to the people that you're working with and stuff like that. And I feel like once you have self-respect, respect for yourself, and then you also have respect for the people that you're working with, and utmost respect, I think the game changes 100%. You know, some of my biggest strides I feel like came from me just looking at myself like, who do I see myself as, right? And that's where that belief system that he was talking about, that's where that comes in, is like, do you respect yourself as a person enough to, you know, take your morning seriously, you know, and go out and run or go out and, you know, do that morning like meditation or whatever it is, you know, and so yeah, that's a big one for me.
And one thing that I was having a conversation with this brother Jordan last week, and I was talking about like struggling with motivation to just get up and go to the gym. This brother shared something with me. He was like, man, you gotta want it more than you don't want it. And I'm like, damn, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And bro, that's probably gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. You feel me? Because those times where we sleeping in, those times where we like, I ain't gonna send that email. You know, oh, I ain't gonna follow up with that client. Oh, I ain't gonna do that project. You know. And it's like, all right, obviously, you know, we don't want it more than we want it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? It makes sense? All right, cool. But yeah, so we're going to keep it rolling. So.
Awesome. So just real quick, you know, everybody in the room, so how many people are entrepreneurs right now? So y'all have a business that y'all already went, okay.
Hey, shout out to y'all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
shout out to y'all.
Yeah.
How many people are aspiring entrepreneurs, getting ready to start y'all businesses, having...
Working on it. Yeah. In progress. Yeah. Hey,
So what I found is like everything starts somewhere, right? So even if you don't have your business right now, every business starts with an idea. You know, every business starts with a concept and something that you're either super interested in, super frustrated with, or something that you just believe that needs to happen out in the world. You know, some people start businesses like Bevel Blades, right? Started his business because of his frustration of how, you know, shaving is for black men. You know, some people start their businesses because, you know, it's something that they're really, really good at and they just have to, you know, they have to do it and they can teach other people how to do it. So, you know, whenever we're thinking about accountability, right, you have to understand that it starts somewhere. You know, it always starts small. But here I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the benefits of entrepreneurship, you know, accountability. You know, first of all, and this is what most people look to, right, with entrepreneurship, like, you know, I'm trying to achieve something. I'm trying to make this amount of money. I'm trying to build this team. I'm trying to become someone of myself. I'm trying to be on Forbes, you know, all those different types of things. So accountability gets you to those goals, right? It's the hard part before those great things. You know, that's what accountability actually is. Another thing it does is it boosts your motivation. So it makes you more able to actually think clearly and get that work done. You know, once you're accountable with yourself, and like I just said, having respect for yourself, right? There's certain things that are just gonna matter enough for you to get up and do it, right? So once you're accountable, your motivation is boosted. And like I said here, you know, it keeps you focused and driven. Number 3, it improves your decision-making skills. That's a huge one in business because I believe business is all about decision-making, especially at the top, right? Because the decisions you make or you don't make affect the bottom line and the top line. So it affects everyone in your organization. It affects everyone you work with, your clients, everything. So you have to be able to make clear and concise decisions and make decisions in general. Because when you're not accountable, there's a lot of things that you can skip. There's a lot of things you would just say, well, I'll just think about that another time. You know, and that doesn't cut it with business because those things that you leave by the wayside, they're the things that come back to get you. And I've experienced that myself. So.
Nate, real quick.
Yeah.
How many of us struggle with indecisiveness? Put my hand up. I know I'll be struggling with that.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. So, so decision making is key. And you know, this is something that I learned along the way. It's like making no decision is a decision in itself, and it has consequences of itself, right? But also, you don't necessarily have to make all the right decisions. I feel like the good business person is a person who made so many mistakes that they just inadvertently like know kind of what to do, right? And it happens by failing. It happens by, you know, taking those steps, taking the wrong steps sometimes, and being able to learn from that. And so, again, decision making, we could talk about that this whole session, decision making, but yeah, we'll move forward. It enhances self-reflection. That's a big one too, because you have to evaluate yourself. Not even just as an entrepreneur, but as a person. You have to know where you're at. You have to be able to track and measure your goals and the things that you're doing and see what type of progress you're making. And that stuff is key to being an entrepreneur, being a business owner. And lastly, it enhances your company culture. So whether you have a business now or you don't have a business now or you're working for a company or whatever, there's something that is called company culture, and it's so important. It's the thing that makes places, you know, the best place to work, and other places like you don't want to go there, right? I've worked at a few companies in my life, and the companies that I really liked the most, it wasn't that I was doing less work. It wasn't that I was less involved. It wasn't that I had more free time. It was the company culture that really kept me in there. And my business, the reason why I enjoy it so much, honestly, is because we've built a culture of respect to one another. We've built a culture of accountability. We've built a culture of just knowing each other's whys and trying to help each other to get there as much as possible. And so I feel great when I'm going in to meet with, the people that I'm talking to, because they empower me at this point. I'll have conversations with my director of business development, and he'll just bring ideas that I would have never thought of. And to be able to grow a company to where the culture even speaks for you and the way you wanted to start it, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. So it starts with accountability. It starts with looking at yourself and saying, this is how it has to be. And I'm gonna do everything in my power, and I'm gonna have, everybody else do everything in their power to make sure that stands regardless of what happens. So let's go to the next slide.
We're gonna keep it rolling. So, discussion time. Like I said, nobody's forced to talk, but we do encourage conversation. What steps are we taking in 2023 this year? We're in February, the year's halfway over, you feel me? So what steps are we, I'm serious. For real. What steps are you taking in 2023 to ensure accountability to not only yourself, but to others? So, anybody wants to, or got anybody? Go ahead. What's going on, brother, with the sharp suit and the golden nameplate? Bruh, stop playing, bro. Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah.
Appreciate it. So I think I've been in this for 1 year, and this year, I would say accountability for myself is job descriptions, and I would say offer letters, but pretty much just laying out who's doing what. We started doing this with my family, and I think sometimes family we can take advantage of family, right? So I think a lot of things I would press to my mom, my sister, my dad is, hey, like if this was somebody random off the block, what would you require? Would you want equity in the company? Do you want a monthly stipend? What do you want? And I challenge all of them to give me the answer and then give me the responsibilities that they want to have. We did do that in 2022, so it was me, myself, and I doing a lot. And now that I'm leading a little more, it's more about, again, laying that stuff out and making sure that we're all on the same page. So it's not just me, it's a team effort.
Thanks. No, we definitely appreciate you sharing that, bro. And what's your name, man?
Isaac.
Isaac, what kind of family business are y'all doing? Are y'all running?
So we have a security company.
Oh,
Security.
okay.
So unarmed, armed guards, emergency services, responding to different events. If we're in New York, we do private protection. So that's the fun part I like. But yeah, that's what we've been doing so far.
All right, so y'all hear that? Security. So if y'all need your boy, you feel me? Yeah. Shout out to Isaac. But yes, anybody else want to go? Like, what we got?
When I think about accountability to myself, I am selfless to a fault. So accountability to myself this year would look like just focusing on my profits, focusing. I'm a service-based business, and I'm a mental health provider. So a lot of times I'm giving in to the person who says they can't afford it, or that they really need therapy, or the clinicians who say, I also have mental health issues, and so I can't take on as many clients. So it's always something, and I'm always leading with my heart. And so I always say that I'm still broke. Although I did really good last year financially. But it's still like, I didn't necessarily take home as much as if I did what I was supposed to do, I would have taken home a lot more. Granted, it keeps going up, but it's kind of like, and it's because I'm not accountable to myself first. And if somebody says please, I'm just going to say okay. And that's where I mess up.
Yeah, so I love that you said that, because in a service-based business, it's about service, right? And you got into healthcare for a reason, because you have a big heart. And I think there's ways to channel that, because you need that. And I think that's what's going to help you grow your business and help you grow a great company culture. But at the same time, I believe when you become more aware of what more money can do for the company, it starts to be a non-negotiable. Because you taking this invoice or you increasing this particular price helps you help other people. And so it becomes very, very important to, kind of rake in as much cash as you can, and so I think there's ways to just channel, that your heart towards, things that are going to grow your company and grow, how people perceive your company and things of that nature. So that's awesome.
Facts. Anybody else? Anybody?
Oh, you can go ahead.
All right, cool.
So I had this idea. I just thought of it like less than 24 hours ago. To do like a weekly audit of just my financials, my emotional well-being, my physical health, because it all does tie into each other. And so I'm really big on like self-reflecting and doing the internal work to see it reflect like externally. So it's just a little idea thrown out there. I think it'll be good.
Got some input to that. Real quick, did you mention your name and your business?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm Whitney.
Whitney with
Dodds, and my business is Wellness for the Culture.
Wellness for the Culture, Whitney Dodds.
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you. Name?
Cassandra.
Cassandra, last name?
Candido.
Cantia. Okay, and what's what?
Candido. Like
Candy. All right, cool. But yeah. All right, so the input that I have to that is you said like a weekly audit and stuff like that. I believe it was it the Millionaire Next Door or something like that. So I don't know what chapter, but they were mentioning that some of the wealthiest people, they checking their financials like, I don't know how many times per week, so just starting the strategy of once a week, Now I'm gonna be real. I have that on my calendar. I'll be skipping out on it though, So accountability, I'm just being real. That's an excellent strategy though. You feel me? And once you start to notice that, you like what did you mention before we left? That like you had just checked that like this week or something like that?
Yeah.
So like, just
Oh yeah, I mean, almost every day.
Yeah.
You kind of have to. The more you look at, I feel like the more energy you put towards something, the more it increases and the more it grows. So like that goes with finances, that goes with your personal health, all that stuff. The more you like watch it, the more it's gonna grow. Like straight up.
Facts. Anybody else? Okay. Go ahead. Oh yes, yeah.
My name is Ebony. So I would say this year not overworking myself because I do a lot. So just
Keep going.
I work for Travis.
Okay, good.
So I do a lot just based on everything we do, just making sure I'm not overworking myself.
For sure.
Because I do owe it to everyone who I work with to make sure that I'm good.
Absolutely.
I'm still gonna work hard because that's just who I am, but just not overdoing it.
Yeah.
And excellent point. I would like to know what. Go ahead, bro.
But I want you to finish on her because I have something.
All right, cool. What was I about to say? Yes, working hard. So my question to you would be, so comment first. I know that's one thing that the brother Brad has said. He was saying like, bro, did a lot in 2022, so want to like really dial in on folks, maybe simplify what I'm doing in 2023 and stuff like that, and not doing as much. So I really resonate with that. Now my question to you is, what do you have in place to ensure that you're not
Being able to
overworking?
say no.
Okay.
Yes, just being able to say no. Say I'm not able to do it. Because I'll try to figure it out. And usually I do, but it's always in a detriment of me. So it's just like, okay, being able to say, all right, well, if you can handle this, then I'll handle this, but I'm not going to be able to do both.
Solid. Appreciate that. And go ahead, bro.
I think, I know for myself is listening to understand other than listening to respond. And taking everything personally and being very reactive because I have like a superstar team from yourself to Lily to Ebony to everybody else that's on my team, and I feel that a lot of times I'm very reactive, which makes me go into my emotions, which then makes me not think logically when it comes to business. So I'm being very proactive on really understanding how to listen to what's going on other than and I didn't even understand that I was doing it, but I figured it out last week that I was kind of like working in my ego or whatever because I've accomplished so much, but of course like y'all helped me get there, right? And it was like I want y'all to listen to me, I want y'all to listen to me, I want you to listen to me. I mean, it's a team effort, and we as a team can go further than me just trying to lead everybody. So being more proactive and listening to understand instead of responding all the time.
Does anybody have any input on how Travis could you know, improve.
Yo, have you?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You're gonna break it down too. Why?
So with my heart,
Yeah.
I am like, I feel everything. I take everything personal sometimes, and I think everybody's trying to attack me. Because I have a big heart. So I don't respond initially to anything. If it has to take 24 hours until I'm done feeling, I will feel first, and I will process first. I don't speak. I'll ask for permission to respond at a different time. Also, if you don't have, what's that person that works on you? Now, not all of them, just the one, an assistant. My assistant saves lives, not just mine, but other people's lives, every day. And that, an assistant, because she's like, I don't think you should respond to that. Or she's like, Mrs. Johnson's not gonna be able to do that today. And like, she is the buffer, so that she saves lives. So, just those two things.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I would say two things, man. The accountability is going to be key with that. You know, you telling other people that on your team so that when it's happening, you know, they can kind of check you for it. I feel like leaders need to be checked a lot. Sometimes our heads are in the clouds. And so, you know, somebody has to tell you like, yo, you know, that wasn't right or whatever it is. The other thing, I'm a big book guy, so there's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes, sir. They'll come to you.
Yeah, yep. So you probably have already read it. So that's a great one. Read it again.
Say.
I have like something else I want to say. So a great friend of mine, Salim Collins, of the Stand Apparel, he, in terms of teams, because all of us need a team to do what we need to do. He gave me the best thing to make me understand, right? He said a lot of times people talk about Michael Jordan, but rarely do they talk about Tony Kukoc and like Steve Kerr, because when you look at it, Michael Jordan only took one shot, which was the game winner, but Michael Jordan passed it off to his team and everything. And he was like before, in like 85, and whenever Jordan came in, Jordan was scoring like 61 points. However, he still was losing to Larry Bird. And he was like, those are empty stats. So he was like, Ebony is your Scottie Pippen. And you have to know how to pass things on to her and to your team so that you can continue to win championships.
Yeah.
Because you can be Jordan at any time, but you still need Ebony, you still need all your other pieces. Because if Jordan didn't have them, he wouldn't be 6-0 in his NBA Finals. And I was like, woo, wait. That's him right there.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, shout out to bro for relaying the message. Yes, sir. Yeah. Thanks. Go ahead, bro.
Excuse me, just piggybacking off of that, like same analogy within sports. I think it's easy to delegate as well if you know like your strengths and weaknesses. So I work with Rod, who's over there. Me and Rod, we do a lot of creative stuff together, podcast, videography work. But I just know like I think that's one of the best things about having a team with like a partner is you got to know like your strengths and weaknesses. And on the same like sports analogy, like I know like a huge LeBron fan. When he went to Miami, LeBron was at the time like probably the best player in the league, MVP. But Miami was not as seen as Dwayne Wade city. Dwayne Wade was accepting of like, hey, let me delegate. And said like, you be the man. You go out and get 30 points. So I think with having it, you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. Like that's just something that as a team, like you can't sit here and say, oh, I want to be the guy managing or the project manager of the team, and you know you're not the best with time management. Or you're not the organizer. Or you need to delegate things and like reel someone in. But then you might be the creative, like, hey, I'm great at like coming up with ideas. How can I like help start brainstorming? And I think like working with somebody like Ryan, like just vouching for him and like giving him his flowers. He's really good at that. Just like being a great accountability partner. So I would also add that as well. Just like knowing your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, that's cold. That's cold.
Big time.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to speak? Good. Go ahead.
I think my biggest thing for myself is saying it and sticking to it. No bending, no gray areas. It's black and white. I feel like within photography, it's a lot of friends and families that I shoot for, and it's like, oh well, I can take some money off, or I can give you this price, or one person will ask me this, and then I give them this price, and somebody will ask me that, and I'll give this that price. And it's like, you gotta stick with it. This is what you're gonna give, this is what you gotta give, because then you start getting into who knows who, and it's like, well, she charged me $100, well, she charged me $200. So I gotta, going into 2023, like if I'm gonna say it, I gotta stick to it, and no bending.
Absolutely.
What's your name?
Zaria.
Zaria, last name? Mecca? Yep. All right, cool, cool, cool. And business is photography, right?
Yes.
How many shooters do we have in the room? Shooters. Yeah, I'm about to say, Ron, raise your hand, bro. Shooters, all right, shooters. All right, so one thing that has helped me tremendously with that right there is a resource called Flashroom Academy. I'm not sure if anybody's ever heard of that, but what they focus on is not getting away from, but they don't focus on the creative. They focus on the business side of media, business side of photography, business side of video production. And one thing he talks about is like, what's your base price? Example, how much does it cost for you to get out of bed? You feel me? And then stick to that, regardless of who you talking to, Sometimes I'll be making an exception for traps. But yeah, for the most part though, like for example, we raised our prices last year and we can't deviate from that. Cause not only does that look bad on our part, but it's like, as we grow, our expenses are growing, so we have to stick to these numbers that we are putting out, So I would say Flashroom Academy, that would be an excellent resource. They have an online community, tons of free, tons of free YouTube videos, all those things type deal. But yeah, bro, you have anything else?
No, I mean, this discussion is really, it's really refreshing, honestly. So yeah, let's go ahead and go to the
For sure.
next slide. Oh, that's you.
Yeah, so 6 strategies for achieving accountability success. Set clear goals. For one, I'm still working on that like this year. So I was working on setting some personal goals and setting some company goals. And shout out to the brother Nate. He recommended a crazy book, right? And this was me not listening when the second time you mentioned it, second time I heard it, I should say. The book is called Traction. Has anybody heard of that book? Traction. Heard of it? Anybody? All right, cool. So one person is familiar with the book. I would definitely recommend to check that book out. Nate, you have a better understanding of the book of Traction, so do you mind speaking about it briefly?
Yeah, so it's called Traction by Gino Wickman. It is basically about getting a grip on your business in so many ways, because a business is a machine, but sometimes it can get out of our hands, and so it's very important for us to understand why we do certain things. Like, you go to your job and they have Monday meetings every single morning, and you're like, why do I have to be here every single Monday? But there's a reason why you have to be there every Monday, because there's certain things that have to be talked about to keep the vehicle going, that have to be talked about on Monday morning. And so there's certain things that you do in your business. It helps you to understand why you do those things, how you can structure your business for success, and all types of other things. So I definitely recommend Traction. It took my business to the next level. Just reading like the first 2-3 chapters, I was like, yo, yeah.
And listening to this brother, when he said it, took my business to the next level, you know what I mean? So I'm like, y'all gotta check that book out now, seriously. And the reason I also mentioned the book Traction, I put it like this. I ain't gonna preach, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes God put a message in your ear and we be ignoring it, you know what I'm saying? But he drop it off again like, hey bro, you need to listen, I'm serious, So with that book, brother in a prominent position mentioned the book, I ignored it. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, a book, you know what I'm saying? This brother Nate came along and said, hey, here's that book. I'm like, yo, I seen that book before.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening the first time.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually
go ahead.
interrupt you there, sorry.
Yeah.
But no, the way I found out the book was interesting too, because like I was living in Indianapolis at the time. I was using this lead generation tool called Connected. These kids, like literally, when I say kids, they're like 21, 20 years old. They had the biggest office at the top, building in Indianapolis. And I was trying to wonder, like, how are y'all doing this, right? And so I'm walking in their office, I'm talking to a few of their guys, And every office I walked into, I saw this orange book in there. I'm like, yo, what's this book? And so I saw it in 3 of their offices. And I just kind of took a mental note and put it down. I never read it. And I went to a few other offices of other, professionals that I was going to meet. I kept seeing the same book. So I'm like, yo, if I keep seeing this book like that, there has to be something in there.
Something about it, yeah.
And so information, that's what information is. Like, information can really take you to the next level. That's why I said earlier I'm a book guy, because all of that stuff is in there.
Thanks.
It's just if you want to read it or not, and so, yeah, sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
you
but
good.
yeah.
Mention that book because there's an exercise in there that y'all can download. Yeah, that's it right there. Traction with orange text. Y'all can see it on Amazon. You can get the physical copy or the audio book. We're not affiliates, but if we were,
Drop my link.
Yeah. But yeah, so going on to number 2, creating a plan. That goes along with setting clear goals, tracking progress. One thing you had just mentioned is tracking progress when it comes to finances, whether that be every week, every couple of days, or so on and so forth. Tracking progress, holding yourself accountable, of course, involving accountability partners. Us as entrepreneurs, y'all, this is a lonely journey. I ain't gonna lie, So if we are not careful, we will end up hustling and doing our thing and realize, like, damn, I ain't talked to nobody in like 3 days. Like, yo. So seriously, involving accountability partners. But we have to be open to want to involve accountability partners. That's very important. And then reward success. Lily, you got on me about that because I don't be rewarding my success. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm like, all right, cool, win, let's keep it pushing. You feel me? Yeah. So rewarding success and be like, man, like that goal that you set out to accomplish, that plan that you set out to accomplish, reward yourself. But then keep it pushing though. We ain't trying to stay on the reward too long. But yeah. So any thoughts? What input? Go ahead.
Hi, Brady. I'm Jaya Kelly. I'm a banker with Ally Financial. I would consider myself an entrepreneur, but just wanting to hit point 5, I know a lot of people, you have classes, courses that allow you to come into a community or a group. I'm just curious, what is your advice paying for courses or to be a part of accountability groups that really prioritize success in a certain field or focus?
Nate, do you have input on that?
Yeah, so I'm a part of one. I pay a lot of money every month to be a part of this accountability group or whatever. And it's definitely worth it. I would say for the courses, maybe not, because it's for a specific skill. So if that's your main thing, then maybe, you could find somebody to sift through and find somebody in there that's like you and that, you can interact with. And some of these courses, they're a lot of people. So it's hard to really sift through. But if you can find an accountability group that is specifically for entrepreneurs in general, someone who can give you a little bit of a depth of perception, I guess I would say, to where you're not looking at things the exact same way. I've gotten a lot of value out of people who are in, the manufacturing business or, in tech or whatever, and just different perspective. So I would say it's definitely worth it. I don't know about the course thing though. I've never done that, so.
Go ahead.
I've done it, of course, and I would say the main thing that kind of worked out for me was proof of concept, and not just written reviews, but people actually, because if it really worked, then you wouldn't need a reason to hide it or make it kind of it wouldn't be fishy. You would just say yeah, this worked for me. Obviously you're gonna have your different paths and different struggles, but generally I feel proof of concept will be able to help, and not just words, but people actually saying business that you can, or you might not be business, but things that you can actually touch. So for me, it was being able to go to a website and see, all right, from this course they were able to build this out or something like that. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Did it really work for somebody in the world and not just 2 people? Because there could be 2 homies and
The fruits. Pay attention to the fruits.
I was just gonna say, 'cause I think we are in a culture where it's I'll teach you how to be a millionaire by teaching you by this, how to be a millionaire. By the course, I'm actually not being a millionaire. So really trying to, I guess, decipher who really has value add versus just posing as a value add.
Okay. Cool. And to the course part, I also want to speak on that too. At least what I've noticed is that courses have helped me tremendously. Now, like I mentioned, Flashroom Academy type thing. The only reason I mention that is because I have seen progress in my business, and I've seen it work for me type deal, you know. Now other courses, I mean, there's a couple of them, but I can't really speak for them yet. But I know that courses have definitely helped me. And we talk about, you know, investing in stocks, bro. How many of us are investing in ourselves to say like, yo, I'm gonna put a couple hundred in this course right here. I'm gonna put, you know what I'm saying, like 150 in the LLC. Damn, where Brad at? Yeah. You know, I'm put some bread in the LLC and stuff like that, you know, because we don't see those immediate returns. We like, well, I know if I invest in this, I'm gonna see that return immediately. But if I invest in myself, I might not see a return in like 4 or 5 years, you know. So we get discouraged along the way. But yeah. So that's what. Go ahead.
I was about to say, just be aware of, so I'm Sling Collins with Cindy Farrell, Chapter talking about earlier. One thing I do want y'all to be aware of, course overload is like a real thing.
Facts.
Every time somebody comes out with a new course, we buy a new course, and then we haven't even finished the old course that we just bought 2 days ago. So if you take 2 different thought processes, ideologies, everything, and trying to go through a 5-step process of how to do, I don't know, get more traction on Instagram. And then you went and bought another course that has the exact same thing, but it's taught in a totally different way. And I see a lot of people, especially within my team, we bought a course, and I bought another course. Now our thought process of how we're doing social media looks 2 totally different ways, right? Because we bought a course last week and this course. So of course overload is a good thing. I will say this, buy a course, stick to the course, work the whole thing out and see if you like the results that it actually gives, right? And if it doesn't, then move on to the next course. But just buying it just because I got a hot flash sale right now, or if you just realize, like you said, it's not moving fast enough. Like we all know, we're entrepreneurs. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Facts.
Go slow, process it, digest it, use it, and then go from there.
Facts. Yeah. Amazing. Anybody else before we move to the next slide? Anybody? Nope. Did that help though? That help? All right, cool. Awesome. So we sliding on. How we looking on time, Terry? Good. Hey man, shout out to Terry, man. She got us the chicken. You feel me? She got us the space. So yeah. But yeah, shout out to Terry. So, what are your best and worst decisions of 2022? Do we want to go ahead and start that? Yeah, we can start. Business-wise, you know, we ain't trying to get too personal. For real.
You know what's crazy? I was about to really get personal.
Oh, what? I mean, hey, I'm trying. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, but I think, especially when you've made entrepreneurship like your thing and like you do it, it intertwines a lot. You know, so sometimes it's hard to separate the two. But for me, you know, last year I got out of a really bad breakup. And so, not a sob story or anything like that, but like.
That's a sob story.
Nah, but it was definitely a shell shocker because, you know, when you're running a business, like everything has to be like structured, you know. So you kind of take that into other parts of your life. To where you feel like, okay, this is how it's going to be, and this is how it's going to be for years, and we're just going to go this way. And then when it doesn't, it's like, wow, okay. Then you lose some confidence. You know, there's a lot of things that happen, you know, internally. And like we talked about earlier, everything starts inside, you know. Everything starts inside, so like your self-confidence, your respect for yourself, like all those different things, they directly impact, you know, your business. And so I would say my best decision of last year was taking that experience and turn it into one that allowed for me to pour in more into myself. And when I say that, you know, I really, really mean it because I literally had to, you know, because when that mental health stuff starts like kicking in, you kind of get into this mode to where you have to do something. And so it forced me, I think I was going down a different road because even without the breakup, I was already not pouring into myself. Without the relationship, I was already not pouring into myself. So it's almost God because it forced me to start, you know, doing meditation, like, you know, taking care of myself more, you know, all of those different things that we should actually be doing. But it's almost like this situation has to happen to where you gotta like wake up and like actually start doing it. And so I would say that was my best decision because it changed everything for my business. everything for my business. I was able to be there more for the people who work at the company. You know, I started thinking different about our clients. You know, I started taking myself out of the business in terms of ego. I started thinking about how we can serve our clients better and how we can make things more efficient and more effective for them and get them stuff better and faster and things like that. And so it was transformative.
Cool. And I appreciate you sharing that. Real quick, Miss Mental Health, how did he do on that side? How did he do on that side, like as far as like mental health tips and stuff like that? No, I'm saying how did he do as far as like taking care of his mind and mental health? No, how did he do? How did Nate do? Yeah. No, you good.
I said he did amazing.
Thank you.
I have a choice to say how he did fitness, right? Yeah, that was awesome. Because as entrepreneurs, we are so, I'm going to be honest, but we are like one line, it doesn't deviate, and then when chaos erupts around us, we don't know how to deal with it. So you do have to feed yourself because you are pouring into every part of your business. And so if you're not whole, your business is not whole. So kudos.
Thank you.
For sure. And this is interesting. I would say worst is let me see. So many worst decisions. So I had a drive crash. So for the shooters, anybody working tech, anything like that, yeah. So spent a lot of money to get it fixed. Money that was unnecessarily spent because I was not being disciplined. It could have been prevented, you know? But simply because I slacked up, got a bit lazy, the drive crashed, and I had to pay not only money to get it repaired, because we're talking about paying clients type deal, right? And the last thing we want to do is reach out to a client, hey, I was lazy, you know, so like we don't want that, right? And the second part is paying for a whole new job. But what I learned in this decision, which was also one of the best decisions, is purchasing the new job, because one thing I was reflecting on is like, okay, this had to happen, like you were mentioning, bro. The drive crashing had to happen for the business because we had to get one that was of like a lot of terabytes, right? But we're talking about scaling this year. One of the only ways that we're gonna be able to scale this year is by, you know, getting a drive that holds, you know, what, 30, 40, 50 terabytes of like footage type deal, you know? So that's what I would say, more so on a technical end type deal. And now we wanna open it up. So what y'all got? Anybody willing to share? Go ahead.
So for me, I think the worst part was self-doubt, giving into self-doubt, and not moving on things until I felt like it was perfect. And then it was never perfect, so I never moved on to things, right? And then by the end of the year, I reframed that and tried everything. And so now I'm kind of in like a trial and error situation. So I'm trying, I'm learning, and trying again instead of giving into the self-doubt.
Ooh, okay. That's nice. What's your name? Brittany Chandler. And Brittany, what do you do?
I'm an author and ghostwriter.
Ooh, okay. For sure. All right, cool. Appreciate you sharing that, by the way. Anybody else? Go ahead, bro.
I think the best thing we did was bring an executive intern in and Tiana Taylor. That was she did a lot of work for us, and she brought some more structure and took a lot off of our plate. But the worst one that I really held in that I didn't ever speak about was there's this conference that's called the NASAP conference. In January we went in like off the most money that we ever made as a company. And the NASAP conference is where you have all the student leaders, like literally everybody, kings, queens, advisors, the whole nine. And I usually, like when I first started my business, I've been in business for over a decade. And I would go there and I would sell out, I would do anything. And I spent $7,000 on some merchandise. And we didn't even have to touch that money. And we didn't make that back. So then it went into being able to pay for people. It went into like, it put me into a personal hole where like after that I felt like everything I was doing, I wasn't doing it correctly. And then a lot of times like you have to have financial discipline when it comes to your business in general, right? So me taking $7,000 thinking I'm gonna make $14,000, that didn't happen. and I already had that money right there. So now I'm scrounging to everything, trying to get it back, and then it's not working. So like sometimes just leave your money alone and let it sit in there and watch it grow, other than always spending and spending and spending without a plan.
Facts. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Appreciate you sharing that, bro. Anybody else? What we got, bro?
I'll stick with the worst right now. That's what it was. Yeah. 2022. I think my biggest thing for my company is not speaking up when I know for a fact this particular idea or product that we're about to put out in the market is not ready to be out in the market. I try to play like I try to do this now. I'm in this self-development thing with myself as well. Not try to be so controlling or be kind of like the hover over everybody to make sure everything running smooth. I'm gonna be honest with you. We've been successful a little bit because I'm a little bit of a hover. If I'm being honest. The first year I kind of let it go a little bit. We had our worst year ever since I started the company. Right? I'm not saying not be a team player, because clearly I told him he needs to be a team player. But what I'm saying is knowing what role you actually do play and knowing that I'm in that role for a reason and just being able to be in that role. I'm the guy that says no when we need to say no.
Nice.
And I need to actually stay in that role, right? Instead of always being like, well, this is a cool idea. We could try it out. And like he said, ours was $12,000 in the hole on a product that just wasn't ready. It wasn't planned properly. We didn't have the right shoots for it. We didn't do marketing plan how we normally thoroughly do everything out. And that was my biggest loss in like the worst decision I made in 2022 for sure. That's why with that also, because going into this new year, back on.
Moving different, exactly, And real quick, bro, what's your name, man?
I'm off Celine College with Ascend Apparel.
Ascend Apparel. And what is Ascend Apparel?
So basically we
The top apparel brand.
we make sneakers, bags, sweatsuits, everything. We've been out in the Charlotte area about since 2018. Yeah, so it's been a good little while or not, but yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
Word. Okay, appreciate you sharing that, bro. Was you about to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we didn't really get to talk about like why we're doing this exercise. So to me, it's interesting to hear some of y'all's stories about best and worst decisions. But it's funny how everything just leads back to accountability. Like at the end of the day, like it's about accountability to ourselves.
Allowed me to go up a little more at the end of the year. And I do have all my clinicians now, they're making all that, and I have no overhead. So that flexibility is the best decision, and I'm gonna try to continue to be flexible in my thinking.
I'm gonna try to continue to be flexible in your thinking. What are you thinking about, or what are you doing to ensure that you continue down, that path?
Well, I have her now.
Okay,
And she kind of looks at me sideways when I don't put myself first. And I have a team of people who are all like now teamed with me, and that feels safe to me because when I decide to not put myself first, they're like, "That's not your goal." And you need to, or hey, they cheer on when I make a boundary, and I actually enforce it. So that is actually so the little wins are. You set a boundary with me, you did a good job. So that's it.
Now that's a blessing that you're building that team and you have that squad around you to let you know, hey, shout out to you, but hey, you might want to think differently type thing, Now my follow-up question to this would be, how many of us have people that we are accountable to, whether it be in business or in personal life, anything like that? You just raise your hand. Anybody? Okay. And what about if we don't though? Anybody? Raise your hand. Anybody? No. Okay, cool. So it looks like we all have people that we are accountable to when it comes to those things. Now my question is, are we communicating properly so people know that, yo, you need some help, let me know. So when we raise your hands with that, like we communicating properly to let people know when we are in need. Nah, none. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
I feel like
Go ahead.
I feel like we need to ask this too. So like, how many people have accountability partners in their personal life? No, okay. So, how many people have accountability partners in their business and professional life? So, it looks like, because I feel like once you have an accountability on one side, sometimes it's hard to, go out and get, an accountability partner on the other side because you think that one kind of takes care of it all, especially on the personal side, and it does not. Because we were talking about this earlier, and there are certain friends you can't talk to about business. You just can't, because there are certain things that happen in business that they just will not understand. And for example, like, you get a new contract that's $100,000, right? And you're stressing over the contract because now you have to fulfill it. You understand, the tax that has to be paid on that, the employees, all those people, and you start to understand that $100,000 is like, it's not as much as it seems. But you take that to your friend, and you go, we just got $100,000. They want to go to the club. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you can't, and if you do start complaining about it, it's like, dude, what are you complaining about? You just made $100,000. You know what I'm saying? And so that understanding isn't there. And so that's why I feel like it's so important to have both. That's just like it's just like how you have a doctor for your physical health and you have a doctor for your mental health. You have a therapist. They're different things, and they take different levels of understanding. And so that's key.
Facts. Before we go to the next slide, anybody got any last ones? Go ahead, bro.
So speaking on this, I think that we have to figure out like the difference between an accountability partner and dropping your whole business on somebody. Right. One of the first things that I realized that I did last year, like anybody that has talked to me about business, everybody knows one of the first two sentences I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna go talk to Ed, right? And I had to realize, like, the more that I say it, it's like I don't know how to make decisions for myself, right? And I had to realize, like, Evan is not the CEO of my company. Evan is the first person that I communicate to get everything else out to everyone else. You get what I'm saying? And I've had to be accountable to myself for that, because, like, I apologized to her in her face the other day, and I was like, I apologize for putting a ton of bricks on you. It's because a lot of times when people have partners, and based on their functionality, they be like, oh, this is operations. Everything goes over there. And that's not true, right? Like even with you and Lily. I'll be like, Lily, I want you to shoot this event. Lily be like, what do you want to do? I'll be like, no. But you always have to have like a vision. You have to be able to communicate what you want your people to do for you and your vision of your brand. You're not diminishing their power in your brand, but you're accepting your leadership for those people. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times we have so many accountability partners that make us lose the accountability of ourselves. So that's what I learned.
That's tough. Okay. Nah, but
I love my team. I love it.
That's love, bro.
What I do, I run a company called HCC Pride Nation. We have our own merchandise. We go into high schools to help students understand the importance of Black colleges. We do social media marketing management.
And with that being said, before we go to the next slide, be sure to connect with each other. This is a very intimate group right here. We want to make sure that we know each other. We know what we do. We want to know how we can assist each other. With giving and seeing how like Brother Cam doing personal training type deal. It may be something that you need. Whether I don't know, bro. It might be merch. It might be like operations. I don't know. However, the answer might be in this room somewhere, and if it's not in this room, they can point you in the right direction. I'll be real with you, you feel me? And that goes for all of us, though, for real. But we have to be open to communicating that stuff, So, just being real. So, keep it going. Go ahead, bro.
So, before we go into all of this, and, Darren and I met, what was that, about a year ago now. And I came to Charlotte, and I was trying to find other people that I could kind of partner with in business. And what I did not realize was that I was going to find someone who not only could I partner, because he does basically the physical version of what I do. So I do all the virtual reality, all the 360, VR stuff and renderings, and he does that in physical space. So there's a lot of place for collaboration. But in our first conversation, I knew straight away that this wasn't just going to be someone that I was, sending projects off to. He's sending projects off to me, because there was a certain level of understanding that he had about business at the level he was at. And at that time, you were very early in business, in the company that you're running right now. And, I knew that it was going to be kind of like a long-term thing. And so we kind of found,
Keep going.
You're crazy, man. No, but I guess we kind of discovered the need for that type of accountability to each other. And we've had conversations, like hour-long talks, talking about, complaining to each other about the certain things that are happening in our business, giving each other game, like certain, technologies out there, like that make things so much easier for you in business. Things like that are what we've been able to trade. And so we saw the value in having another person, and again, we don't do the exact same thing. We don't have the exact same type of clients and all that stuff all the time, but it's like there was so much synergy that happened between, business owners. And so that's why we're really here in this room, is because, we really, decided that shouldn't be something that we just enjoy. It should be something that's universal, either to people who are getting into business, for people who are, established in business, for people who are trying to scale. There are different stages of, where you're at in your journey. And so, like I said, that's one of the main reasons why we're here. You want to add anything?
Yeah, one thing, man, I was thinking, bro, it's in my notes too, yeah. All right, it was, one thing I was thinking about in terms of when it comes to connecting with people and stuff like that. So let me find it real quick. Watch it. It's gonna pull up real slow. Hold on. There it goes. Wait for it. And where is it? Come on. My fault, y'all. I'm gonna find it. But yeah, it was something along, man. See, watch. I'm gonna say something. It's gonna pop in my head, but no, I'm good, bro. Let me see. See, I don't even know what the keyword was. It was oh, here it go. Ooh. All right, cool. So a lot of times we're not bad at networking. You feel me? We just don't know how to nurture relationships. So that's what it was. That's something I was thinking about. You feel me? Because it's like, bro, we connect with all these people, especially when we do business and stuff like that. We connecting with people every day, every week and stuff like that. We don't nurture those relationships though. We forget, like, let me check in on what you call. Let me check in on, whatever, to make sure the other people are good. Like, like Jordan, I was sharing with you, like, bro, I'm trying to get in the gym, like, bro, every day. You feel me? You helped me tell you. You was like, bro, like, what you doing, bro? You BSing, But that's just like an example of just like nurturing those relationships, communicating with people, letting them know, like, this is kind of like what I need, or this is where I kind of need accountability with, and this is how, that person could potentially assist me or something like that, So that's something I was really thinking about like this past week, is nurturing those relationships and those business connections or personal connections that we actually develop. So, yeah.
Another thing is sometimes it's hard to structure that, right? As business owners or aspiring business owners, we have to have structure. We have, like, it's either we have structure or we just don't do it. Like, I know y'all all have those friends that y'all gotta put a meeting on the calendar to be able to actually meet with these people, some of your best friends. So it's like, we have to have that structure. And so, as we were kind of pondering on this and how we're gonna do this, we wanted to give opportunities for growth, but then also help to structure, that accountability. And so we're creating a kind of like an exclusive group. It's going to be inclusive, but it's going to be exclusive at the same time. It's going to be inclusive of all different types of entrepreneurs at all different types of stages. Like I said, everything starts with an idea, and there are going to be people there that have that idea. But the cool thing is the other people in the group have had an idea, so they know a little bit of how to get your idea to become an actual real thing. And I believe that you start to become the people that you're around the most. It just happens naturally. And so if you're surrounding yourself with people who have done stuff that you're trying to do, you know, it's inadvertently going to happen. You're going to get to where you're trying to go. And so, were you going to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, for those who haven't started a business or are working on an idea, maybe it's your next idea. If you don't mind, like, only if it's in motion though, or not in motion, but like, you know, if you are open to it, I should say, sharing what that idea is, or that plan. Right. Nah. Okay, cool. Now the reason I was going to say that is because it's like, all right, somebody may have already did that, they were successful at it. What can you learn from them, you know? And it could just be pulling somebody to the side, not sharing, you know, publicly within like a full group, but saying like, yo, I'm working on this type deal. You think, you know, you could assist me along the way with whatever that is, though, you know? So yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And another thing is like the things that you see here on this list, there are a few more. After this, we're gonna open it up to this group because we wanna know what the actual needs are. You know, these are things that we struggled with. These are things that we would have loved to have help with, you know, until we kind of met each other and met other entrepreneurs and been, you know, connected and stuff like that. But like I said, we're going to open it up to get some suggestions as well, because we can foresee this being a really, really big thing. You know, there have been people who aren't here today that are like, yo, if y'all do that online, if y'all do a community, I would love to be a part of that. And again, I would have loved to be a part of something like this when I was starting off, because I was in my room, in a dark room, you know, just you know, typing away at nothing for a long time. So
And that's a part of the reason why we're doing this every month. I don't know if y'all know that, but this will be an ongoing thing. Why? Because some of us may have expressed thoughts and ideas. It's like, yo, where you at? What do you say? You gonna do that? You know, so making sure that, you know, we just checking in, like, you know, is your mind healthy? Is your mind healthy? How's your mental health? Like you said, you know, want to drink water, want to go to the gym, want to talk about finance, stuff like that. Are you keeping track of those things for your personal life? So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to name off some of them, you know, monthly must reads. You know, reading is so important. Just period, point blank. It's just important. Like, you know, there are certain books that have taken, you know, my business to the next level, yours, you know, other people I know. And so we're going to be sharing a lot of those. Tech stack secrets. So basically the software and tech that's coming out right now is crazy. Like, I don't know if y'all use ChatGPT.
Crazy.
But look, I'm about to buy the subscriptions because I be on there every day.
Yeah.
Things like Notion, things like Go High Level, you know. These are like literally secrets like that. People are hiding away, making their money, and you know, we don't know them because the information is not necessarily just like out there. Templates galore. You know, there are certain things that we've built over the course of our businesses. There are certain things that we've bought from other people's, you know, things that we can share with others to make the road easier. And also accountability. This is something we're still testing out, the matchmaker piece. Monthly mastery workshops, bringing in people who are experienced in certain things based off of what y'all want to hear about. If it's finance, if it's personal finance, if it's business finance, if it's marketing, all of these things are part of the machine that keeps the vehicle running. Mindset makeover, like I said, it starts up here. And so having the understanding of how you should think on a daily basis, how you should think about yourself, how you should think about your business, how you should, you know, grow your understanding of certain things is very key. If you can go to the next slide.
Yep.
Motivation, you know, financial, talking about financials, that's key. You got to know your numbers because we're running businesses. You know, we're not, you know, I don't think anybody in here is in here to start a hobby. You know, businesses make money and you have to be able to make money. Business blueprint, there's a certain way to structure your business. And you have to be able to architect, you know, the way that your business actually runs, cater to what you're trying to do out in the world.
I want to speak on that real quick.
Sure.
to the point with the business blueprint, for the book that I mentioned earlier, Traction. So in the book, there's a full PDF type deal. It's talking about what are your business plans and goals like per quarter, so that we can stay accountable and stay on track with what we need to do every week. Was Q1 even successful? Was Q2 even successful? Q3, Q4, et cetera, et cetera. So it breaks that down. And matter of fact, I think the Traction Blueprint, I think you can download that on Google or something like that. You know, EOS.
EOS, yeah.
Yeah, the EOS.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also Action Planner, all these different things that are going to help you. It's basically the structure that you need to be accountable to yourself and to accountable to others who are in the group as well. And then weekly wins, you know, we gotta, like we talked about earlier, you know, talking about wins sometimes. Because a lot of times, like, so many times we're like going uphill, we're going up this mountain, you know, and we're beat up, you know, it hurts, it takes a lot of energy, all of these things, and when you get up there, it's like, yo, like, I gotta go up to the next one. So sometimes you have to stop and kind of smell the flowers. So I think that that accountability within the group to actually share wins almost forces you to do that, and it pushes other people who are in the group to kind of move forward in their businesses as well. So another thing to note is, like, before we even move forward, like, this isn't for everyone. You know, it really isn't. Like, it's inclusive of the people who are trying to take their businesses to the next level and actually be accountable. Just a disclaimer, business is hard. For some of the people who are in the room who have been running it, like, you know, it's not a cakewalk. You know, and so what we've understood is that it's harder if you don't have other people, you know, that you're doing it with and that you're accountable to. Because especially when you start getting into full-time entrepreneurship, you know, there's nobody telling you to wake up. There's nobody like saying, oh, you have to do this by 8 a.m., by 9 a.m., you have to have this in. Like, it's just you. So you have to have that set in place. So yeah, we're offering all of this stuff for just $5. Right now, we're not really trying to make money off of it, because all of that money is just going to be poured back into making this what it's going to be. And it's not going to be $5, you know, when it is built to what it's going to be. And so we want the people who are in the first, I would say, cohort of this to experience this at a level to where it doesn't have too much financial impact, you know, on your pockets, especially for the people who are just starting out. But I mean, it's cheaper than Netflix. So
That's a fact, though. That's a fact, though. That's a fact.
It's literally cheaper than Netflix. So and we all pay for Netflix. Netflix, I'm cheap, so I pay the $6.99.
Yeah, nah, facts. Hey, Spotify, anybody got Spotify? But y'all on that student account, though. That's like $5. You know? Yeah, so you got that, yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so, you know, so, you know, we'll drop the bread all day on entertainment, you know, it's like, man, it makes me feel good, but when it comes to, like, you know, those things like development and stuff like that, like, bro, I don't be wanting to be in class, you feel me? Like, Jordan, bro, I don't be wanting to be in class, you feel me? But we also understand the investment behind going to the gym, you feel me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, bro, that's what I had to say about that.
Yeah, everything is an investment. And, you know, we thought very hard about this price, because one thing we also do understand is that what you invest into, you know, and the things you actually spend money on, you actually take seriously. So, you know, I think it's going to be about us actually being accountable to each other, because $5 is like, you know, like you can't buy a burger for more than $5 these days, you know, so, I mean, for less than $5. So, you know, it's about us being accountable. And so us as the first group is going to be about us being accountable to each other and saying, hey, we have to get up, we have to do this, we have to be accountable to each other, we have to read, we have to gain information, we have to give information, because, and the last thing I'm going to say is, I really believe in the flow of information. And I learned this at a very young age. You know, whenever you give information out, more information comes back to you. And if you get information and you don't give it, how could you be trusted with more information? So it's key for us to be accountable to each other by giving each other information. It doesn't hurt you anything.
Facts.
It doesn't hurt you at all. So, yeah.
Facts. And it's kind of like off topic over there somewhere. With everything that we all do in business, we know that technically there is competition. We know that. Those are the facts. However, we were speaking about that this morning, bro. It's like